family farmers and home gardeners. I'm here at the Wilson Family Kitchen. I'm going to show you how to plant herbs. It's pretty straightforward. Now you'll need a few things before we start. The first and most important thing you need is dirt. Now I bought this dirt at the grocery store. I bought these pots at the grocery store. These are all things you should be able to find even while you're self-isolating. Anytime you go out to get necessities, see what you can pick up. And you'll probably be able to make do. I'll tell you more about ideas for recycling and making do in a little bit. So obviously the first thing you need to do is to fill your pots with the dirt. I like to put my dirt in a container, keep it contained, otherwise it goes all over the place if you just scoop it straight from the bag. The trick to filling your containers is to make sure that you're packing it in pretty tightly. You don't want to compress your soil too much, but if it's too loose, it'll sink down as soon as you water it. And then you'll end up losing your seed. All right. So now that I've got a few containers to start with, I'm going to go ahead, pull them out, and we'll go over planting real quick. Now, pick your herb seeds. I'm going to go with sweet marjoram. One thing to remember with most herb seeds is that they're really tiny. You can hardly see them in my hand here. This makes it difficult to plant. I usually aim for about 3 seeds per pot. Now you can do this either by putting the seeds in your hand first, that's about 5. Oh wow. Gently tipping them into the pot. Or you can put a bunch in your hand. See, I'm making a little pile there. Might be hard to see because they're so tiny. And then very carefully picking out 3 seeds. Now, anytime you have herb seeds, you should, or any seed, you should be able to read the back of the seed packet and follow the directions. A lot of times they'll tell you, especially with these tiny ones, that you need to put the seeds 1/8 of an inch deep. That's a little challenging because it's such a small amount. What I like to do when it's 1/8 of an inch or less planting depth is just put the seeds on top of the pot or on top of the dirt in your pots and gently stir it around just a little bit. That gives the seeds the chance to fall into the cracks in the soil and kind of cover themselves with just the tiniest amount of earth. I'm going to finish this row. So as you can see, these are the same seeds. Sweet marjoram, extremely tiny, right? I'm just going to put about 3 per container. And if it's a little hard to see and I get it wrong, that's all right. All right. Now that I've finished a row, it's important to label your work. Now, what I've been doing is making labels like this out of recycled material. This is made from a plastic plate. I'm going to put these aside for now. Every plant needs dirt, water, and good sunlight to grow. Now, if you can't get enough sunlight in your window, it's okay to augment with some LEDs or fluorescent lighting to get the right spectrum for your plants. You can also carry your plants outside during the day and bring them back in at night to make sure they don't freeze. All right, now that we've gone over the basics with nice little store-bought pots, with nice little store-bought dirt, we're going to get a little creative because not everyone has nice little store-bought things all the time. Now, the first thing we're going to talk about is dirt. What I have here is, it used to be a poinsettia from Christmas time. You can see the dirt is all dried out and crusty and gross. It has some old roots in it. But if this is what you have lying around, this is what you can use. I'm gonna break up the dirt, and it's a bit dry, so I'm going to pour some water into it. Make sure it's nice and just moist enough to sort of hold together when you squeeze it into a handful, right? So not quite there yet. Now you have to be careful reusing dirt for new seedlings because earth from other plants can carry diseases that can infect your new seedlings, especially if you're digging it out of the ground. If you're digging it out of the ground outside, it can have weed seeds in it, which might be hard to tell apart from the seedlings you're trying to grow. But still, if you need dirt, there's a lot of dirt, if you know where to look. All right, so we've got about the right consistency. See, it kind of holds together in a lump. Now, let's talk about pots. So I've scrounged around the Wilson kitchen just a little bit. I found some eggs, old egg cartons, some used cups. I'm going to show you how to turn all of these things into pots that you can grow small plants in and little seedlings. First thing, I'm going to use this cup. It's a little bigger than I want it, so I'm just going to cut it down to size. And it's very important that you drain the plants, that you don't swamp the roots, and you got to give the water a place to flow away from your plant's roots after you water them. So I've got a little hole in the bottom, and that's one kind of pot you can use. Another one is the egg cup. What I'm going to do is break away just the top of the egg very carefully. And what I have here now, after I poke a hole in the bottom for drainage, is going to be just another really useful little pot. Also, you might want to rinse it out, that I can use to grow seedlings in. Another thing I can do is actually use the egg carton itself. A paper egg carton is biodegradable. And you can, once your seedlings are grown large enough to plant outside, you can actually put the whole egg carton in the ground, right? Same with the eggshells. The eggshells will add calcium to your soil when you plant them along with your seedlings. All right, I have my pots all filled with dirt. I have all kinds of seeds. Let's throw down some basil. Now, if you're like me, you want to have lots of basil. Again, you can see these are pretty tiny seeds, not as tiny as the thyme and the marjoram. Let's throw these down. I'm going to put 2 per pot. These are pretty tiny pots. I already messed up and put 3 in one of them. That's okay. You're going to find when you plant these little tiny seeds that there's a lot of seeds in every packet. It might seem like there's a small amount, but they're just real tiny seeds. You have plenty. Again, I put them on top of the dirt, and then I push them in, kind of jumble it around a little bit. Make sure they're nice and covered with just a tiny little bit of dirt. Same with the egg cups. Now you have to be careful because you can break your egg cups pretty easily. Let's do some oregano. I'm just gonna put oregano in 2 of these. Then I'm gonna show you something that's kind of cool. 1, 2, 3. All right. When you use eggs, you can write directly on the eggshell. Okay. And I'll plant the others later. Here's some parsley. I think I'll put that in these cups. Parsley is actually related to carrot, so when you plant your carrots, you'll find that the seeds are about the same shape. Parsley seeds are just a little bit smaller. I'm going to do 3 per cup. These are pretty big containers, so I think 3 is okay to start with. You just want to make sure at least 1 grows in each container. And you can always thin them out later. Remember, there's a lot of seeds in each of these little packets. And once they're nicely planted, you want to have a container that they can drain into, right? Otherwise, you can mess up your windowsills and countertops pretty easily. Here we go. Now I could put that directly on the windowsill, or if you're really lucky, you might have a takeout container. Now this clear lid will do the same thing as this clear lid. It enhances the sunlight, keeping it warmer on the inside, and helps retain water. So you don't have to keep an eye on it and water it quite as often. So I think I'll use this for my smaller little pots here. And bam! And this will go on a sunny windowsill. And after a few weeks, you'll be able to see little seedlings coming up. This is what my seedlings look like after about a week and a half to 2 weeks. I've got oregano sprouting, thyme, tarragon, a little bit of the parsley's coming up, but as you can see, none of my rosemary has sprouted yet. It's a little disappointing. Rosemary is one of my favorite herbs. Hopefully we'll see them pop out of the ground there in another couple days. As you can see, the seedlings are really tiny. It's a little hard to focus on. They are very small. If you found weed seedlings in your dirt, they'd look a lot like weed seedlings too. It's just, you know, you gotta be patient. They take a long time and they're really small. So, good luck on your gardening, folks.